I love that. I love that, because often when we go into business, we think, oh, bigger's better, and we grow and things get popular and there's all the things we could do. And that's fantastic. But it's amazing that you kind of looked at it and thought, oh, do I want this? Is this it? Or what else could I do? How else could I work? Which is really exciting because, I mean, you became a mum, didn't you? So
yes, I think that was COVID, and being a mama was
Yeah.
definitely the catalyst. But I think it made me sit back and look back at, what I was doing, how I was feeling. And then obviously I took a 7-month break from practicing and just gave me that, I think, that space to kind of go, well, a perfect opportunity to step back into practicing and being a naturopath in the way that I really want to, because there's definitely an element of burnout for me. I, had a very busy practice and I was smashing myself with 30 to 40 clients a week, and that classic back to back and just really full on. And I knew I didn't want to do that anymore. And that's when I reached out to you, and I'd already made the decisions back, I think it was maybe September, October when I first spoke to you last year, that I was going to close the hub and move in a different direction with that. But I wasn't quite sure about, exactly what I wanted to do as for myself as the naturopath.
Yeah. And you had an idea of a niche already, didn't you? So part of the work that we do in the mastermind, for those who don't know, is getting really clear on a niche. So finding out who your clients are, like the people that you just love to help, that you're good at helping. There's enough of them out there to, make it a worthwhile business, and really getting clear on what their big problems are. And you had an idea of that, didn't you? And you'd written an ebook. Do you want to tell us a little bit about your niche and about that process?
Sure. I have always been really passionate about gut health, and I came out of uni and wrote a manual and an ebook specifically on SIBO for practitioners, because I just found when I dug deep and did all of the research, there was a really big gap in that at university. We didn't get taught it very much, and so I wanted to kind of fill that gap. So put that manual together, and then I think just naturally, we've got a family history of chronic gut issues in my family. We nearly lost my mum due to Crohn's disease, so I think it's always just been a bit of a passion for me. And then I just naturally started attracting those clients through Kismet Health, and it just grew and grew from there. So I knew I wanted to keep going forward with that, and I just love it. Like I think, when you're sitting with a client, you're like, this is my jam.
Yeah, it's like, tell me more about your poo and your bloating and all those pain symptoms you have. Yeah, it's
it just made me feel happy and lit me up in clinic. So I wanted to come back and just see those clients.
Yeah, great. And so, I mean, you could have just started seeing those clients in your clinic and just said, look, this is our area of focus, and continued on, seeing back-to-back clients, but at least focusing on gut stuff. But what was it that made you want to join the mastermind? Like, I can't remember. Did you come to it already knowing I need a new way to work? Like, I want to create a program? Yeah.
Yes, I didn't know exactly what that would look like, but I was kind of thinking a package or just an easier way to work with clients, because I also knew, now being a mum and also managing a team of 3 other naturopaths, I was very limited with the time that I was going to be able to spend with my clients. But I also had experienced that appointment by appointment and knew how much people were missing out on, I think, and I was constantly responding to emails in between clients and not feeling like valued, I think, for the gold that I was giving them in between appointments, undercharging and all of those things that I now know clearly.
I know. Well, I mean, I was the same. Like we didn't know any other way. And I think, it's almost like the model was broken. I mean, it's not. There's a lot of practitioners that love that model, and it does work. I'm not saying that. But for some of us, if you find yourself, you cram as much as you can into that face-to-face appointment. But if clients obviously need help in between sessions, and if you're there emailing and providing that, it's kind of like, well, hang on, I should be being paid for this, and it should be part of a more systematized program. So yeah. And so tell me now, so clinic's all packed up, you're moving to the other space, that's all great, you've got your team still there. What what does your program look like now? Like, what's an average kind of day in your working life look like now that you've got, what's it called now, your Nourished Gut?
Yeah, the Nourished Gut program.
Yeah, so tell me, how is that, like, it's, how long is it, what's the process that you take your clients through now?
So it's a 6-month gut health program, where it's very individualized, and it's attracting clients with, chronic gut issues. And I do gut health calls with them, and that's kind of how I onboard them. And then there's still that one-on-one component that I'm doing with them, but then I do weekly group coaching, and lots of touch points. I am kind of speaking to them individually as well, because I've found that it is a touchy, confidential area. I feel like not everyone's really keen to chat about shitting their pants.
Yes, even though they're in a room of people that all feel it. Yeah, you're right. There's a lot more, well, I guess because there's a lot of testing and interpreting test results and tweaking protocols and things like that, isn't there, for your clients?
Yes, and I like most of them are happy. And on the group calls, I've been really pleasantly surprised. Like, people will just start chatting about it, and I let them, lead that conversation. Yes. And like, even last week, one of the guys had their results come back, and he's tested positive for insulin resistance and fatty liver, and he just openly talked about that. And I was like, cool, now I can talk about this more and provide the link between metabolic disease and inflammation in the gut. And it empowers everybody else in that group, and it's kind of just like a bit of magic happens, and everyone gets so motivated by other people. And even he was like, oh, and I've been 3 weeks with not drinking Coke Zero, and one of my newbies who just entered the weekly call, and I'd onboarded her, she was like, oh, I'm addicted to Coke Zero, how did you do it? And then he coached her.
Oh, goosebumps. I know.
I know. I'm just sitting there like, oh, cool.
That's it, isn't it? And so often when I talk to practitioners about, I love that you said that, about group programs, like the big thing that comes up is, oh, but it's confidential, and it's like, no, you're not. It's not the only way that you're serving your clients in your program. Of course, there's all the one-on-one support as well. It has to be, I think, for that, but for the work, especially for what you're doing. But as an addition, as an extra kind of add-on, you've got this opportunity for them to have that community, that like-minded support. And like you say, like you become almost obsolete sometimes, and the magic happens when they start, because that's empowering them, isn't it? Like, if they're then teaching somebody else, they're all sorts of great stuff happens. There's neural pathways firing in their brain.
She didn't want to talk to me. She wanted to know how he did it, like direct from the source of success.
Yeah, because like, well, because she probably thinks you're like Miss 100% healthy. So it's kind of like, like she's found a kindred spirit, and she wanted to hear. So good.
Yeah. So really loving that. And I think that's kind of I'm trying to think what else is in the program. Obviously, there's all of the online modules, some naturopathic yoga from Amy. All of my ebooks are in the process. When I first started working with you, I launched my ebook, and I have an online quiz. So all of my resources, all of my gold recipes and things like that are all in there. It's kind of like my premium product for clients.
Yeah, it's so great, isn't it? And so it's 6 months. What's the investment for clients?
$2,570.
Amazing. And you've had like a run of people signing the last few weeks, haven't you?
Yes, I've onboarded 5 in the last week. Yeah. So exciting.
It's so exciting, So anyone out there that's thinking people won't pay $2,500 for a gut health program with an experienced practitioner, like, I reckon Carly could double her prices and she would still be attracting people, because
not quite yet.
No, don't. I know, it's okay. I understand.
Took me a lot to everybody who's listening. It did take me a lot to kind of, and with Hayley's coaching, be okay with that and testing the waters and trial and error with a few things in the process. But I now feel super confident and worthy of that price now that I've had those people and that run of people joining up. It's that's reassuring for sure.
Yeah, and you just start to build that belief that actually this is helping people and they are willing. Yeah, and that's the beauty of having a really clear niche and really honing in your marketing and your key messages and sort of really talking to those people. And and showing them that you can help. It's so exciting.